casual talk with Fred. I asked him to come on here with me to talk about really what's going on right now in the world, right? What we've all been talking about. And so I want to do just a quick intro of Fred. Fred is a professional bodybuilder. He's a coach, a trainer, a business owner. He actually just launched a new business, a new product line. So he's an entrepreneur, husband, father of 4. He's also my bodybuilding coach. And Fred has competed with some of the best. He's been on the Olympia stage, which is the top stage in the bodybuilding world. He's shared stage with some of the best in the business, including himself, Arnold Schwarzenegger. And like I said, he's also my personal bodybuilding coach. He took me from amateur to pro last year. Those of you who are in my community, my clients, you always hear me talking about going from an amateur mindset to a pro mindset. And it's one of the reasons that I brought Fred out again last year. We worked together several years before. And my whole decision to work with Fred again and to pursue pro in this sport was because I wanted to really up level in my mind. And so that's what Fred is here for. He's going to talk to us about that and how he's dealing with all the changes that are going on, how it's impacting his fitness, his training, his businesses, his clients. And I know that we're all going to walk away just, better because of this talk. So please welcome my coach, my friend, Fred Biggie Smalls.
Hey, Jess, how you doing? Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. So great to be here with you.
The way you edified me, I'm wondering if you're talking about me. That's pretty awesome. I mean, the climate we're in right now, the virus and how everybody's being impacted. I mean, it's definitely a challenge, but there's a lot of silver lining in it too. Like I was talking, it gives you more time to spend with your family. But most importantly, if you're using this time to work on something, because a lot of people are sidelined from their jobs. A lot of people can't get to their normal routine, so everything slows down. So if you use that time wisely, it's an opportunity to become really masterful at something, whatever you're passionate about. I was talking to my son the other day and I was telling him, you talk about you wanting to cut hair, you talk about wanting to be a chef, you talk about all this stuff. It's like, well, take 15 minutes in each area every day and work on it. So there's a lot of inconveniences with this, but there's also a lot of positives that can come out of it if you use the time wisely.
I love that. What a great way to kick it off, because what you're saying is a way of thinking, right? It's like a change in perception of what's going on in these times. And this is particularly why I wanted to interview you, because, pro athletes are no strangers to stress, right? I mean,
Sure.
It's built into your livelihood. It's built into your daily training, the pressure of go time, competing, making money doing this. So I believe it's important for us to look to pro athletes at times like these, like Fred, to see how we can change our perception. How can we manage our minds, our emotions when so much is out of our control? And,
Right.
People are going to see from watching this interview, elite athletes have an edge. They just have an edge in life, particularly in overcoming obstacles, right? Getting through stress. And
I think what ends up happening is people stop focusing on what they can control and focus on all the hype, right? So, you hear all the things about people being sick, passing away, the social, keeping your social distance and all that kind of stuff. And immediately you're looking at all the negative and how it impacts your life. But like I said, you have to have the mindset, I'm going to control what I can control.
Yeah.
That's first and foremost, right? So I'm going to control the things like making sure my immune system's in tip-top shape, and that starts with making sure I'm still going to eat well, still going to exercise, still going to take the right vitamins and things to make it so that I can stay healthy during this time frame. And if
really to that, Fred, about not using this time to just sit around, overeat, and indulge, right? Because I always think about, like, how do I want to look back from this in 2-3 months when we're totally past it? Like you're saying, how did I use the time? But I think a lot of people could be falling into that overeating, over drinking, all of those things while they're stuck in the house.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at social media right now, it's kind of crazy because it's nothing but it's either fitness challenges or drinking challenges, right? So I think you just have to create a schedule for yourself so that you're productive each and every day. And I know that's what I've focused on, making sure that I still have a schedule, still have things to get to, adhere to, and focus on a daily basis.
Yeah, that's great. And we have several questions for you. Somehow I got bumped out of the video here.
Yeah, I don't see it. I see this picture of you, not you.
Can I get back on video? Fred, see on your side, because you're a panelist, if you can put me back on video. Just look up at on the side. We're both panelists, so it should let you. But I have several questions for you, not just from myself, but from others who've posted questions in the last day, yesterday and today. So before I get to those, though, I want to ask you, share with us like a little bit about your history, right? Like maybe like the bullet points of how did you get where you are today? Like I said earlier, you're a professional bodybuilder. You have hundreds of clients that you train who count on you. You train pros and amateurs. You run a company. You've got employees. You just launched a new product line. But what got you to this? Like, what's a little bit of your background? I always think that's interesting to hear people's journey.
I mean, I was an overweight kid growing up, and my mom saw me being very frustrated with that. So she took me to a gym, got me a trainer. And, through that, I think I learned at a very young age how to kind of tackle my issues. There you are. Tackle the problems head on. And if, I was always around pretty positive people because in the lifting community, bodybuilding community, there's a whole lot of positivity, right? And I don't know, I was just always too stubborn to believe I couldn't. And I would, whether it was being a national champion in powerlifting in college or a world champion, and being told by my coach that I wasn't good enough in the beginning, but using that as fuel instead of a demotivation, using it as motivation to get better. When I came out, then I started my own personal training business, and the person at Gold's Gym said, well, not many people can do personal training full time. It's kind of like a side thing. And I just took the principles I learned from my dad's insurance business and applied it to training. And then, my whole life I've supported a family from 4 to 6 people from personal training. So, and then, I got this crazy idea when I was in my early 20s to buy a gym. And, I was hell bent on buying this gym, and it was a Gold's Gym, and we bought it, and it was a mistake, but I learned a whole lot from it. And, when it failed, we merged with the gym that I grew up in, the training center. And I've been there for now 12 years. And we've been running our nutrition, training, rehab business there successfully for 12 years. And during that whole time frame, I just couldn't let my love for bodybuilding go. So I went back into bodybuilding, and my wife Karen was very supportive of me doing bodybuilding, and she's gave me that edge I needed the support I needed to become a pro. And then becoming a pro, you start just training higher levels of people. And at first, actually Sean Roden, who was a Mr. Olympia, I trained him, but my fear of not being able to do it, after he turned pro, I turned him on to another coach because I was like, I wasn't sure how to do it. Which, if I had to do over again, I would have kept it, right? But
I love you sharing that, because for the people listening, like, what Fred is like, listen to the nuggets. It's like, I started a business that didn't work. So I tried, so I went to the next thing, right? And he's also pointing out, like, it doesn't mean that pros and highly successful people and high performers don't deal with doubt, right? Like that we don't deal with insecurities like he's talking about right now. But the theme in all of this, even going back to, I was a kid who was overweight. Then I, tried to play sport. My coach told me I wouldn't be good enough. Then, these people told me you can't make money doing personal training. Like, the whole thread here is continuing to keep going and getting around positive people who tell you that you can, but also, like you said, just constantly looking for, like, just continuing to go, right? Like the next thing, okay, if this doesn't work, keep going. And so those are important personality traits, qualities to have, because when we go through times like we're going through now, you already have collected evidence in your life that you can persevere. That when times are hard, when you come up against stuff, you can keep going.
Yeah, I think I call it like taking inventory. Sometimes you have to take inventory to things you've accomplished in order to have that strength and that resilience to keep moving forward, But I think, the other thing is, a lot of people start something, but you have to have a belief in yourself that's so strong that it takes more than a person telling you can't do it to stop you. You have to have something that's burning so intensely in you that there's no option but to keep going. And that's what I think. And the other thing is, don't do things for money. Do things because you truly love them.
That's right.
And then the success will be there. But when you do it because of a financial gain, or, that's why all these infomercials out there, make money in 30 days and all that kind of stuff. None of that stuff really works. You have to do things that you're very passionate about.
Right, because then when things get hard, and I say this to my entrepreneurs all the time, that I coach entrepreneurs, and fitness is a huge foundation of my new High Performers Club, because learning this athlete mindset gives them that edge. And so what you're saying is, like, if you're just doing it, and I see this all the time, especially with people attracted to, like, oh, I can just start a business online, and they see it all on IG, and they forget that unless you're doing it because you love it and like you're driven to do it for the right reasons, you're going to burn out or give up quickly, because it's going to be hard. You've got to be passionate about what you're doing in order to keep going, no matter what, when times are hard, when there's challenges. And so I love you saying that, because people need to hear it over and over and over again, because so many people give up. It's why very few people can do what we're doing. I mean, it's not an easy.
No, I mean, bodybuilding teaches you that too, because it doesn't matter how good you were on any given day. You have to be good every day. And so it teaches you to win every day. That's what I always tell my clients: win every day. And it's not about, like, if you're good 5 days and not great 2 days, you're still not going to hit an optimal level or where you want to hit. So every day is day in and day out the same sacrifice, the same discipline, the same focus, which goes back to, you have to enjoy the journey you're on. You can't just look at the end goal. You have to enjoy the journey you're on, because if you're not enjoying the journey, then you're not going to have fun with it.
It's so true. And this is something like that I've even had to continue to up-level my mind in as I'm training for my pro debut with Fred. And that sometimes I'm like, Fred, we got to get on the phone. I need you to give me that, because you realize when you get to a certain level, everybody is on their A game. And
right.
Like you're saying, if you're slacking off a day or two, that's going to show. And these things that we're talking about, because my community is mostly entrepreneurs, this applies to the same thing in your business. You can't show up, and try to give 100% for 2 days or 3 days out of the month, and then the rest you don't, right? It's the little things every single day. So we know that right now, tons of people are stuck at home. And this is a great time, like you said, for them to start mastering something. So, and everybody is concerned about their fitness right now. So I want to share some questions that I got on Instagram and also text message this morning.
Well, let me tell your audience one story that I think will resonate with, you know, understanding that the whole idea that you have to be good every day and consistent, and the higher level you get up, the more tougher it gets. So at that point, you have to be ingrained in your system and your way of doing things consistently day in and day out, because the more success you gain, the harder it gets, right? It's kind of like the law of diminishing returns. So, you know, when I was getting ready for the 2012 Olympia, I had done the Chicago Pro, and that got me in. I took second at Chicago Pro. Well, between the Chicago Pro and the Olympia, I had some days that I was kind of falling off. But the hardest lesson I learned was being on the Olympia stage in front of millions of people at our Super Bowl bodybuilding and not being in the condition I wanted to be in. That's how I learned to be more consistent all the time. So, you know, it will always catch up to you. And one way or another, you will learn it. But, you know, so I learned mine, and then it got better from there. So.
We all need those humbling moments. It happened to me, you know, the year after I was training with you, where I thought I could do it on my own.
Mm-hmm.
I've told this story to my clients; they know it. And just, you know, kind of really just, that's kind of like a cockiness, right? Like thinking, oh, I got this. I could do it on my own, thinking that you've got it down, and standing on stage being completely just horrified at the way that I showed up, right? And I was there, and I have to look at those kids, and they're there, you know, they're online, they're on NBCNewsOnline.com. And it's a reminder, like, no matter what, no matter how successful we get in our fitness, in our businesses, we always need that person who's a step above us to help us get to our next level, to help us see what we don't see. So in times like this, it's also a reminder, you got to be in community, right? You have got to be connected with a community. I'm on the phone, I'm on Zoom with people in my business community. I'm staying connected to Fred, you know, for the fitness piece. Like, it's not about doing anything alone. Nothing that you do that's great can you accomplish on your own. So we got some questions.
Yeah.
I think the chat box is working, guys. Let me know. If not, you can put your question in the Q&A. So just click the Q&A button. So here's a question, Fred, that we have for you, that came in on IG at JSW24. I think you know him. Maybe. He says, since all gyms are closed, what's the best way to not lose our gains that we work so hard for, especially since we're limited on weight and machines? I think I know your answer, but I'll let you, I'll listen.
Well, one, you can keep your nutrition up, you know, eat the right things, and make sure you're not just letting that fall off the side of the boat. And then some type of exercise on a daily basis. You know, like I actually on itsrealbig.com, we're going to put in-home workouts that you can do with just a floor, a chair, and a towel. You know, plyometric exercises are a way to keep muscle density. Jump squats, you know, in different types of jumps and things like that. We can do push-ups. You know, push-ups are amazing. Because all we're trying to do, we're not going to build muscle during this time frame, but we can maintain your density if you don't have equipment. And like a simple routine of push-ups, jump squats, step-ups, walking lunges, sit-ups, and grabbing some gallon jugs and doing side laterals and some presses in superset fashion would do wonders for most people's physique anyway. And then on the opposite day, throw more. You there? You good?
Yeah.
And then on the opposite days, you know, throw in some agility type stuff, you know, like some mountain climbers, if you know, and you can modify that to make it easier or hard, jumping jacks, things to get your body moving, get your metabolism elevated, and get your body utilizing the food you're eating, and giving your body a reason to maintain muscle.
So, and I put in the chat box, hopefully you guys can see it. And if you don't, I will send this out in an email, and we're going to share this on Facebook. But itsrealbig.com is Fred's website. And that's where he said he's going to be sharing also these workouts that you can do at home. So that's super helpful. What about, I'm going to look, okay, here's a question from Mike Sid. He says, how does he maintain a strong, healthy, and positive relationship with his family, even though he's so busy with his business? This is one a lot of people want to know.
Well, you know, I try and include them in as much as possible. You know, like when I was guest posing a lot for when my bodybuilding, they would be with me. I'm always trying to get my kids to go to the gym with me so that they kind of hang out with me and see what I'm doing. My daughter has actually competed. My oldest daughter's actually competed. She's actually in the gym with me quite a bit. She's really taken to the lifestyle. She loves it. But my two sons, so it just means like, you know, whether it doesn't have to be a lot of time, it has to be quality time, right? Yeah. So sometimes as I sit down and watch a movie, like a couple weeks ago, I get home and I'm not getting home till 8 o'clock, but I promised the kids we're gonna do movie nights. We do movie night, and then after they go to bed, I go do my hour of cardio. So, you know, you just have to be willing to, I mean, everyone has the same 168 hours in a day, in a week. It's just about how you're going to use them. So there's not a whole lot of time for friendships, you know, like I think that's where the sacrifice comes in. Right. Like my boys that want to come by, like a guy said yesterday, oh man, I want to come up and just hang out with you. I haven't seen you in a long time. And in my head, I'm like, yeah, but I got to get to the warehouse. I got to go to a store in Annapolis. And, you know, because in his mind, he's like, well, we can't do anything. To me, I'm like, still got a lot of things to accomplish today. You know? So that's the sacrifice, not my family. It's the sacrifice of friendships and social things, you know, and it's not really a sacrifice because I'm always doing something productive. And if you're in that realm with me, then you're hanging out with me anyway, right? So
back to what you said earlier, like if you're loving what you're doing, none of it is really, you're sacrificing some things, but you're going to sacrifice in life anyway, somewhere.
Right.
And so what you're saying is you're sacrificing the things that aren't really the highest priority. And it's easy
right.
doing something that you love.
Yeah.
We also had I've got some questions specifically before we wrap up about how you're managing with all the shifts that are happening. But I want to make sure the people who messaged in get their questions answered. So both Catherine and Jill had a question about how do you manage during injury? How do you still stay focused on your fitness? Not just say forget it. You and I we've all worked through injuries, but the average person, like it's what's the mindset shift for them in addition to like staying safe?
Right. I think, I've gotten hurt pretty much every prep in some way, shape or form, little knick-knack things but I'm focused on the therapy and getting back to 100% more than quitting. The hardest one was this last pec tear. That was pretty bad. And that kept me out of lifting for 9 months. So it wasn't about, so then my shift became into my therapy. How do I get better through my therapy? Yeah. And then once the therapy was done, then it was kind of like, okay, well, I go back to, and my biggest challenge was I didn't need bodybuilding because I had found a way to make my training business even more successful. So I didn't need bodybuilding financially anymore. So then I had to figure out why am I doing it? And once I found that why, then I locked in and it was game on. But so what I would have to the way to answer that is if the why is big enough, the challenges don't matter.
I love that. You guys write that down. If the why is big enough, the challenges don't matter. I'm telling you, like I talked about this last year with my crew and in my community. Last year, in the last 6 months, I had some of the biggest challenges in my personal life that could have easily bled into my business, into my fitness, even through me training and turning pro with you there by my side, Fred. I was going through some of the biggest challenges in my family life with my brother. And like Fred just said, no matter what, like things are going to happen. We're going to go through epidemics we're going through now. It won't be the last one that our country and our nation is going to deal with. It won't be the last, thing that comes out of nowhere. It won't be the last thing in your personal life. But when you're so connected to why you're doing something, those things are going to happen and you're going to manage through them, right? Like nothing stops you. I won't say slows you down. It's okay to slow down.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay to, I think it's okay to, I mean, you're going to have failures. You're going to have times where things don't go your way. You know, gosh, when I sent my pictures, first update pictures back to my coach, he goes, "Oh man, being fat is fun, isn't it?" And, you know, so,
I've had like those kind of moments with my coach.
yeah, yeah. You know, it's like, so for me, you know, the why is not about, the why is creating something, a legacy that my kids can be proud of. The why is making sure that I leave something that if they want to do something, they can do it. And so the opportunity with the supplement business was something, this is kind of a natural transition, you know, like getting cut from one supplement company and getting picked up by another, but not getting the deal you want and stuff like that. And you realize, am I going to cry about it or am I going to do something about it?
Yes. Solution
And
oriented.
right. So that's, and then when the opportunity presented itself, I jumped on it. And, you know, it was only in November that we started thinking about doing this thing. And here we are. We're in, you know, we just got in our 6th store yesterday, and
Congratulations. For my
exciting.
clients who are listening,
Thank
you hear that? He just started thinking about it in November. What do we talk about all the time? Action. It's not enough to just have ideas and to sit down and plan forever and ever and ever. You've got to move. You've got to put things into action. This is why I love fitness so much, because it keeps you in forward momentum. It keeps you in that active energy. So that's great.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It does.
That brings me to a great question. Now that, so for instance, number one, you had been off for 2 years because you were injured, and then you've been training so hard for the last year building it back, right? I was there with you like
Yeah.
2 weeks ago. I mean, your discipline, your drive, you looked like, your body was just, peaking. You were so ready to have your debut back at the Arnold Australia. And then of course, everything was canceled for all of us. So how do you deal with that? Because I see some amateurs in the industry and in other sports and stuff like that, handling it one way. I'll just say handling it one way. How do you handle it? How did it, because that was a big blow.
Yeah, I mean, it was because, we were excited. 1 year ago from that moment, I wasn't able to lift a weight. And then 1 year later, I'm on stage with the top guys, right? And I looked pretty good. And I was super excited about the comeback. So I had my moment. I digested it. I got upset, but it was a moment. And then I started thinking about, okay, what happens now? Well, what happens now is we look at the next show and we say, well, cool, we got 4 more weeks to get that much better. Then they cancel that show. So you're like, and this goes back to my thing where you can't focus on what you can't control. It's not worth it, right? You're going to get yourself upset and it's not going to change a thing. The reality is still the show's not there. So what do? The reality now is, do I even have a show in 8 weeks? We don't know, right? Because they just canceled the Olympics. So we don't know. We don't know what's going on. But I do know if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And, if you...
That's golden. If you stay ready, and this is something Fred has been coaching me on, right? If as opposed to going in and out, right? It's if you stay ready, and we're talking specifically physically for our sport, but this applies to everything in this sport. That's what I love about it.
Well, we're not even just talking about our sport.
That's right.
Not even just talking about your sport. I mean, think about it. Like, we started the supplement business in November, but we had already known what supplement formulas we wanted to put in place. We already known what kind of products we wanted because we've been thinking about it, and so you just always got to, and that's why I say, like, when during this time frame, is an unbelievable opportunity to go after what you really dream about.
Yeah.
Like, so many people work jobs they don't enjoy. This is a great opportunity to go to really work on what you're passionate about. So if you're passionate about, cooking, or passionate about something else, this is an opportunity where you can really study it, research it, and get working towards that dream,
Yeah, absolutely. It's something I just talked about in my group last week. It's like, this could be, if you decide to, these months could be your most productive months ever. And that's basically what you're saying, is like, use this time to shift your focus to what you've been ignoring, that you actually want to do in your life. So I love how you talked about too, it's just a moment. This is another thing that's really big in coaching mindset around how you get through tough times in your business. Like you said, it's not just about your fitness, it's about your business, it's about your personal relationships. When something is just a moment and you don't let your emotions and all of that hijack your mind and hijack, your belief and your passion and all that, then it can be just a moment. So the times that we're in right now, also, depending on how you react, what you choose to focus on, how much you obsess over the news, the negative, all of that, it can become a moment for you, or, a mountain of problem. And it really is all in the way we decide to process it. So how are you, so you just launched your product line. You're in 6 stores right now. How is this impacting your business? I have a lot of business owners, brick and mortar and online business owners, who are having to shift and pivot, and do things differently. And people are fearful about, are people going to buy? By the way, people are buying. I'm still one of those people who's buying things online and signing up and buying products. So how have you had to shift, especially with this just happening right at your launch?
The biggest thing we've done is, when we were the first week before everything got shut down, it was like I had 10, 15 appointments with different stores. Now there's just not as many stores open. Yeah. So you just gotta, if before you had to call 5 to get into one, you got to call 20 to get into one now, right? You just gotta do more volume. And then as far as online, you got to be a little craftier about how you're marketing online. And like I said, getting your immune system up. So what products do I have that support the immune system? That's what we're going to promote. Then also giving value about it. Everybody's trying to figure out how do I work out? How do I work out at home? How do I stay fit at home? So, we're going to be launching tips on our website every single day on how to improve your fitness, improve your health, and so giving the consumer value, so they're
right now. Those of you listening, and I can see, those of you who are on right now who I know have businesses, this is what we've talked about in my group. It's like, get out there and be relevant to what's going on right now, and give value to your clients, your community, your customers, your potential customers. Don't be one of those, you see a lot of shady stuff going on right now where people are trying to capitalize on this in a way that's just about making money. But people can see through that, be part of the solution right now. Not part of the problem, but get out there and give value. That is that's why I'm doing interviews and different things like this that weren't planned, or, it's like, how can we get out there and help? In my world, it's all about how can we help people manage their mind right now. So you got to ask yourself what you do and what you have to offer that's unique, that is your special thing that you can get out there and help your clients with. And it might be different than it was. You might have to, dig into your bag. This is where you get to be creative as an entrepreneur. How are you helping your clients and your employees deal right now? Like, are some freaking out?
Well, the mandate came to shut down all non-essential businesses about 10 days ago. And so what we ended up doing was we really researched through the rules, and it said, okay, just no gatherings of more than like 10 people. Mm-hmm. So we were still doing one-on-one training in the gym. I negotiated that with the other owner of the gym, but we're still going to do one-on-one training. We just won't have the gym open, right? That way everybody's still making some income. And then the tougher mandate came today, actually, where Carney said, everything's to be shut down if you're not essential. And so, I talked to a few of my buddies that are in law enforcement and that kind of stuff, and you find where are there any loopholes to that? And so my trainers are, oh my God, we're not going to make any money, and I'm like, well, you can see if your client's willing to do in-home workouts, and so some of them are doing that. And then if it's a nice day, it's a beautiful day outside right now, you can do some park stuff. And, you know, so like you said, you got to be creative. And then on the flip side, I said, hey, big sports still needs people to sell. So come over here and try and make commission on this end. You know, so we're trying to offer alternatives because, you know, like it's not just my family that looks up to me. It's also all the people that work for me, you know, and they're looking like you know, the easy way would be to just lay them off, but I'm trying to find alternatives for them.
Yeah, and that's so, it's an important message for all of you to hear, whether you're an employee, you're an employer, or you're a solopreneur right now. Like, try to be solution oriented as opposed to being focused on the problem, right? And cut people some slack, knowing that we all are in this together, pivoting at the same time, trying to find solutions. And you get to ask yourself, how do you want to lead? And like Fred's saying, you know, he's got these people depending on him. If we can think outside of ourselves, not just about ourselves and, oh, you know, how it's impacting us, but really think about leading the people that depend on us, that look up to us. I think that it helps you tap into a more resourceful part of yourself when you're really thinking outward, right? So this is great, Fred. I know there's just a lot of value here for people. I want you to have the final word, any final words that you have of encouragement, or, you know, how people can really manage during this time. And when I share the video, and I'm going to send out an email replay too, we'll share all the ways in which people can get in touch with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the theme here when we talk about this time frame is, one, you know, we got to look out for the next person. So if you have elderly people with respiratory issues and things like that, stay away from them right now, because you don't know if you're a carrier or not. I mean, the reality is, if we're healthy, you're probably not going to feel what somebody who's not healthy is going to feel, right? So but it doesn't mean you have to stop working on yourself, working on whatever dreams you have, working on more time with your family, anything that's important to you that gets you and drives you up. This is the time to really work on your game plan on how it's going to be that much better once the world gets back to normal. And if you're prepared, it's just going to make you that much more ready to attack and work towards your success. And that's what I would go with right now. And then, you know, enjoy what you can enjoy. Enjoy your family, enjoy your loved ones, and have a lot of fun.
Awesome. Very, very good advice. And Fred, thank you so much for sharing this time with me. And I think we get to do this again, you know, in a week or two. And I think this would be really valuable for people to just continue to hear these kind of messages and see how people are leading from the front. Get out there, be a leader, be a part of the solution, not the problem. And make sure that you rewatch this video and take down all the good advice and the tips that Fred has shared with us today. Thank you, Fred. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Lots of love to everyone. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.